In honor of Columbus Day, let's take this shit over. I'm Aaron. I'm the one who would have been like Columbus. I just want to pillage and take everything with no regard.
And I'm Josh, who would be like Leif Erikson, who was the real founder of America, but gets absolutely no credit. But I know I'm the right, powerful founder of America. Fuck Columbus.
Yeah, so if you can't tell, I'm at a remote location this time, so if the sound is bad, tough shit. But I'm like Columbus, where I'm stranded at sea. Josh is the Indian who has to find me, so that's what's happening this week.
I don't want to find you, actually.
Just leave me out there.
Yeah. Wallow
At least I don't
around
have
in
to
the
look at
ocean.
your face today, so.
You know, it is kind of weird staring at the empty, like the microphone stand, and you're not there. But I left
If
it
you
up.
could just do like a head on a stick for me.
That would be more intelligent than you, actually. So this might work out good, you know, that I don't have to, we don't have to stare at each other. And I don't have to see your stupid gestures either that you do. So it's all good. All good.
Anyway, so we're going to be reviewing in this episode Hellfest as well as Venom.
Yeah.
But before we get into the review, I don't know if there's any bigger thing, no pun intended, that happened in the comic book world than Batman Damned. And for those, if you're not aware, I don't know how you're not, but this book really took off because they show Batman's penis.
Ooh, the ding dong.
The Batwang.
Yeah. Ooh. And
this book is going for like $100.
People
It's only a $5.99 cover price. It's called DC Black Label, and basically it was just like a mature book. Nobody really knew that they were going to show his junk in it until people received it in hand. So I had pre-ordered it 3 previews, just like thinking, oh, it's a Batman book. It should be cool. It's adult themed. I thought it'd be more violent.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting Batman's junk.
Man, you got the bat dick.
I gotta say, he's a little, I guess he's girthy, but not very well endowed. Like he's not, I guess he's average in length.
Well, you
but
know,
girthy.
Isn't that how bodybuilders are though? You know, not necessarily like long in the schlong, but you know, kind of like a little fucking potato. I don't know. I don't look at weightlifters' dicks, but you know, I just, you know, shrunken nuts and shit from fucking steroids. But,
what I just like, the whole thing that amazes me is why are nerds specking on his penis, and why do so many male, like basically the comic audience is male.
Sure.
Why is everyone buying this book solely for that?
It is disturbing, man. It really is. Like how many times did like the nerd open up the book and just stare at it and be like, I'm looking at Batman's cock, you know? Like I don't know. Like people imagine themselves as superheroes. Did they imagine these little small dick nerds? Did they think, oh, I could be Batman with that bat dick? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't get it,
if
man.
If it was Harley Quinn who's on the cover of Batman Damn 2 and she was showing some cooch, I could understand how it would be like selling popular. You know, like people would be into it, nerds.
Yeah, but
Batman's junk, I don't get it.
Do you think that would sell less than Batman's dick for some odd reason, you know? Like, that's how nerds operate, too. Oh, naked girls. Ooh. Batman's dick. Yes.
I just know when you hear Batman and Dick, it's no longer Grayson. It's just... Well, we just had to talk about it. I mean, I guess if you got the book like I did, you really lucked out on it. I see this holding no long-term value. I just don't know how people are really going to care.
Yeah,
but Baltimore was this past weekend, and they were selling left and right from what I've heard there. So
that's ridiculous.
Take it for what it's worth.
Or what its girth.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm sure you do.
Take it like Selena Kyle did.
So the
anyway,
so
too much cock for me.
Yeah. Please compensate. Like give us like Catwoman or Harley Quinn, please, naked, to make up for that, please. I don't think
DC got what they wanted, though. They got people talking about it. You know, they want publicity. I didn't really hear bad publicity. I don't think anyone was like crying, like, "Oh, little Johnny saw it and he's traumatized forever." And you know, I didn't hear any of that stuff. So
yeah, no, I didn't hear that either. You know, and I don't know. It's hype, man. Whatever. Like I said, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's dick.
All right, so let's get into Hellfest.
All right, let's do it because it's Halloween season, man, and no better way than with a Halloween themed movie, right?
I'll spoil it. The movie was so appropriately titled because this movie was a fucking Hellfest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it should just be like hell. It was tough, man. It was a tough movie to watch at points.
So basically, I mean, the backstory is, if there even is one to this movie, is basically what 4 or 5 people go to a haunted house and a killer is trying to kill people at the haunted house. That is the entire story.
Yeah, they used the haunted house as a cover for their murderous ways, right?
Yeah. So really the only person that was even known in this movie, as far as like I've recognized, was Bex Taylor Klaus, who played Taylor. She's from the Scream TV show, which was halfway decent. And then she was on Arrow for quite a while. And then she's actually the voice of Pidge on the new Voltron.
Oh, yeah, right on.
So, I mean, she was like fairly popular. Other than that, it was a bunch of nobodies, which is fine.
Oh yeah, it's a horror flick, you know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, these people are getting their breakout performances here, so
sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. The movie just even started off on the wrong foot. It just like kind of jumped right in with, and just it was confusing from the beginning, and it shouldn't be. Horror movies shouldn't be confusing, you know. They're basic, and this just jumped in, and it was just bizarre from the beginning, man, and not in a horror way.
Normally, it's like I don't even want a backstory in horror. I just want to see people get fucking slaughtered. So it's like, all right, jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to learn a little something about the characters. Like we don't even know really why they're going to this place, other than they just got tickets for it. It's like literally the movie starts with the main character Natalie shows up at her best friend Brooke's house. Brooke has no idea why she's even there, and she's like, "We're going to Hellfest."
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Minutes, not even 5 minutes, they're at Hellfest.
That's what I was like saying. Like they just jumped right into that, and like what her friend Brooke is like, "Oh, I'm so surprised that you're here." Like, why? Why are you surprised? You know, especially when you had tickets for her anyway. Like,
yeah, I didn't understand that.
Were you surprised because horror isn't really her thing? Like she didn't want to go to a haunted house? Or were you surprised just because she showed up? And, you know, and that Taylor, who Bex Taylor Klaus plays, there seems to be something between Natalie and her. Like there's some issue between the two. That did you figure out what that issue is, dude? Because I didn't.
I have no idea. Yeah, they allude to it several times throughout the movie that they apparently hate each other, but yet at points in the movie they're holding each other's hands and having a good time, so they can't hate each other too much.
Maybe
but then I was like thinking, well, who the fuck wouldn't hate Taylor? She was the most annoying character of all time.
Oh yeah.
She was just like, she wasn't a bitch. She was just like over the top, like that drunken asshole type the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like who would like this person? You don't want to hang out with her.
Yeah, it's that person who has a comment for fucking everything. You know?
Yeah, it would be like hanging out with myself. Who wants to do that?
Yeah, another reason why I'm glad you're not here in the flesh. Yeah, what an annoying fucking character.
We have no idea why they supposedly hate each other. And then the other thing that they allude to numerous times in the movie is like apparently Natalie is stressing out over something. We never know why. She's like always like, "Oh, can I handle school?" Or like Brooke says to her a couple of times, "Hey, if you need help, let me know. I'm there for you." For what? Like, we don't even know what's going on. They never tell you.
Yeah, and it would have been like, I just thought about this now, like, it would have been even cool if it's like, well, I had something traumatic happen to me. It's almost like they alluded that she had something traumatic happen to her. But if they played on that and like, I don't like going to these haunted houses because, I don't know, my dad was murdered, 10 years ago by some fucking serial killer,
Yeah.
That would have been a backstory. It's done in 2 sentences and we're like, oh, okay, that's why she doesn't want to, that's why she's, her friend was surprised that she showed up, Nothing. You don't know, like you said, like something is bothering her and she's supposed to be that timid kind of girl that, becomes the hero. But it's like, I don't know. There was nothing in the background that you didn't see the transformation. There was no transformation to be made, really.
And then even her boyfriend in the movie, Gavin, who's like the most dorkiest, timid character of all time.
Which I didn't.
She even refers.
Oh, go ahead.
She refers to him as like, "Oh, sorry, I've been so flaky lately. I've had some issues going on." So she says it yet again, but never says what the issues are.
Yeah,
and then they allude to Gavin that they've maybe been together, I guess, in the past, and it didn't really work out.
Yeah.
But again, you never find out why.
Yeah, they seem to be like maybe sophomore, junior in college, somewhere around there. And I don't know, did she have a relationship with him in high school? It seems like they're all from the same frickin' town. But again, no background there. So, except for, oh, maybe I like him. Oh, maybe I like her, Oh.
I felt like watching it, like if to put it in TV perspective, like this was the 3rd episode and I missed the first 2 episodes, so I don't really know what's going on. That's how I felt watching it.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it there. I'll agree with that wholeheartedly, man. Yeah. And it's like a bad TV show. It's like...
So then, like, sticking with the no backstory part, like, typically the killer, too. Again, I don't really need a whole backstory. I think the backstory, like, ruined Michael Myers, basically. I like the mystique of he's just a crazy fucking demon or whatever. But they offer, like, absolutely nothing about the killer. You have no idea of his motives. You don't know, like, why he wants to kill people. Is he crazy, not crazy? You know literally nothing. At least like Jason, he was revenging his mother. Leatherface is just, he's a cannibal. He has to do it. Like, at least Michael Myers was possessed. Like, we have no idea about this guy. Nothing.
Yeah, and I can understand if they wanted a mystique to him, but you still need, like you said, that the way this movie was set up, it could be freaky too. Like, why are you killing? For no reason. Like, that is kind of scary in and of itself, but it didn't work in this film at all, because that's not what this film was about. If it was about a serial killer just like killing for the sake of fucking killing, that's a whole different movie, You had no clue. Just that he did do this before, so he apparently goes to these things.
The only thing I picked up on is he said, I guess, in the first haunted house, or the first killing a year prior to this film taking place, was he was like basically stalking people that were showing no signs of fear in the haunted house. So it's like, oh, you're too badass for me to like be afraid of this haunted house. I'll show you real fear.
Right.
But why? What? Who cares? Like, again, if they would have said something that set that up of, I don't know, maybe he wasn't feared in his life somehow. I don't know. Like, it's kind of stupid.
The thing that I did notice when he was walking around the grounds of this haunted house maze, they had a little haunted house, they had mazes, all this, you walked around, they had DJs, whatever. It's a whole big festival, Hellfest, right? He almost purposefully bumped into people too, and those ended up being his victims. I don't know if you picked up on that. Like, he always shoulder bumped them and they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, each of these people in the group bumped into him physically and, oh, I'm sorry. Or like, hey, freak, watch out. It's almost like he was testing them, is this the person I'm going to kill because they, quote, pissed me off, That's the only, that was it for me. Like, I'm like, is that it? He just wants to, see if someone gets pissed off at him and it gives him a reason to kill. I don't know. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't know why he kills. I don't know.
They never explain it.
No. And like you said, man, the way that it just kind of like jumped into shit, it needed a little backstory. If not, just show me the fucking Hellfest.
The ending.
Yeah.
I'll save the ending for the end, but the ending really makes his backstory even more confusing. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, it's all fucked up, man. Yeah, there's no, I don't know. There's just no rhyme or reason to this shit.
They obviously could have put backstory into this and, drawn out the beginning part of the movie because, like you said, it jumps right into Hellfest 2 minutes into it. And the problem with that is the whole next hour and a half, the movie is so fucking repetitive. It's like you do the same thing over and over and over. Instead, you could have gave us original backstory to alleviate some of those issues. Like, it's literally them walking through a haunted house for an hour and a half.
With the same thing happening over and over.
The fake scare that you would get in a real haunted house happening to them over and over. So, like, a spider jumps out at them, a skeleton falls from the ceiling. It doesn't scare the audience, though. Like, you might be scared if you were there in person just because of that sudden, like, jolt.
Right.
But it doesn't scare the audience at all. And then the problem with the movie is there's no actual real jump-out scare. Never once does the killer have an actual jump-out and, like, scare the shit out of the audience.
No.
Not even close.
I literally sat in my seat, one of, like, 4 people that was in the theater. I just sat there. And I was like, finger on the chin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe shift a little bit because my leg was falling asleep or something. Like, I did not move except for the sake of moving myself. There was no jump. It was, everything was over and over repetitive, like you said, and the dialogue itself was repetitive too through the whole fucking movie. So you have 2 elements: the physical element of being scared. And the dialogue was the same shit over and over and over.
I think they said like 4 times, I counted. Basically, the friends, Brooke and her boyfriend, kind of make fun of Gavin and Natalie. Like, oh, you two like each other. Are you going to hook up tonight and stuff? And Gavin would always be like, oh, real subtle, guys. Like, leave us alone. The same type of dialogue happened 4 times in the movie. Yeah. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
They're not really going out. They're trying to hook up. We get it.
Yeah. And it just did not work on any level whatsoever. And I mean, just to get back to like, even like the what was supposed to be scary, like when you see a horror movie, you see like slow moments, and you kind of like get reserved and you get complacent, and then when they do the jump scare, you're like, oh shit, that's the oh shit moment. That never happened.
They never did it.
Yeah, because you're just walking through it's like a YouTube video of an amusement park ride. Like, oh, someone's taking a camera on a roller coaster. That does nothing for me. Like,
no, it doesn't scare you. It can be scary while you're on the roller coaster, but when you're just watching it, it's not scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was like, that's what I thought.
It was like, Travel Channel. This was Travel Channel Halloween edition that they show every year of like top 10 haunted houses. That's what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
People walk through and, oh my God, somebody grabbed them. Okay, does nothing for me as an audience.
No. And it would be like a place where you're like, oh, that is a cool place. They got a DJ there. It's a huge complex. Like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll go. And they have like the one room that's like, you got to sign the fucking waiver for,
like, honestly, if this place was a real place around here, it would be fucking awesome. Like, you go, you get drunked up. They have cool music. They have like people just dancing around. Like, they show these cool clowns at one part that just run at you and they shoot like confetti right in your face. Like, it was cool. Freaky stuff, but that's in real life scenario, not as an audience member watching a movie.
Right. It
totally different experience,
Yeah, it's almost like a bad shaky cam movie that tries to show you the viewer's perspective. It doesn't work, and this didn't work either at all.
And then even the killer himself was way too repetitive. Like, he was the most generic killer ever.
Yeah.
So I was telling you the movie Mischief Night, and I made you look it up. It is 100% the same exact killer. He has pretty much the same mask. It's white instead of tan. but it's like the black hoodie, super generic.
Yeah.
And then you alluded to it as being the same as Hush, which I had to agree. It's pretty damn close. Combine the two of those, you got Hellfest.
Yeah, a mask and a zip-up hoodie, which honestly doesn't scare the fuck out of me. It doesn't.
No.
You know? No.
The first kill he does, which was a year prior, he does wear the devil mask, correct?
I think so, yeah. He seems to wear a different mask to each one, which...
But I'm just thinking, for the sake of the movie, he didn't use the devil mask at Hellfest. He used it at a different one. Shouldn't he have used the devil mask the whole time, considering it's called Hellfest?
Yeah.
It would have made more sense.
Yeah, and it would have given the killer a persona, you know? Like, Leatherface wears people's faces, right? It might be different from movie to movie, but it's still, you get the concept, right? A hockey mask, you know, Michael Myers mask. That's the person. This didn't really, I don't know. And which led to me, like, I did not like the killer because I did not think that he fit the feel of the other people who were acting at this haunted house. He stood out to me as, like, I would be like, this guy just doesn't belong. Because you had, like, those clowns, you had those freaky kids with the white faces, you know, like those porcelain dolls. They had, like, the no-face kids. Like, they all had groups
they were very,
like that.
Like Silent Hill scenario.
Right. And you had, like, this, so you had these Silent Hill type people. You had the clowns. You had, like, these alien-looking things at different sections. And there's just this dude walking around with a hoodie and a fucking mask on. He stood out to me. But then we do find out later on that there is a group of these, but it still didn't, to me, even though there were 6 or 8 of them, did not fit at all. And it seems like they just had those other, 6 to 8 people wearing the same stupid mask just for the sake of having it. So you were confused as to which one was the killer, you know?
Yeah, they had to throw in a red herring. It was like specifically for writing, but I agree. It's like they stood out because he was so boring looking. The other people that were actually part of the park looked cool.
Yeah.
Any one of them would have been a cooler looking killer.
Yeah, this just looks like one of those guys that, like, I'm going to go to the haunted house and I'm just going to wear a mask and be stupid and try to scare people.
I picked it up at Party City before I came for $5.
Exactly. Yeah, it did not work. Another one did not work.
So we got to get into the deaths. I think that's what everybody wants to know from horror movies, right? Like, how the fuck did these people die?
Absolutely. It's the most important part, honestly. So
I thought there was 2 decent deaths in it.
Yeah.
And the one that I really liked was the head smash.
I agree. That was the most violent one that they did.
I mean, it's so over the top. It's like straight out of Hatchet. You know, it's so ridiculously fake with just like his head like pretty much explodes. You can tell it's a prosthetic or whatever. But it was still cool. Like, I love that type of like gratuitous violence that's so over the top with this shit just like splurting out everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it was great. It was a little hokey the way it was set up, but the actual smash of the head, and I thought the visual effects of it were pretty darn good. You know, so what he used like the hammer. You hit the bell to see how strong you are, how high you can hit that little thing that hits the bell. So it's like, what, 15 feet in the air, right? You're supposed to hit it. You win a fucking prize. But this was like in the locker room, wasn't it?
Correct, yeah.
So this is like
Gavin goes into a locker room to get a stuffed animal for his girlfriend because he sucks at life and couldn't even win her anything. So he goes in to just like take a stuffed animal for free.
Right.
He runs into the killer. The killer knocks him over, and he thinks it's still kind of part of the park attraction or whatever, but then he soon realizes once he gets knocked down again, like, this guy is for real.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell, man? Come on.
Starts backing up, he's crawling, and all of a sudden in his head just lines up with the fucking feats of strength thing.
Yeah.
And whack! His head Gallagher style, baby.
And kudos, I gotta say, kudos to the killer, because he did hit the fucking bell. So he smashes the dude's head, hits it hard enough that thing goes ding. So that was cool.
That scene, it led me to believe that maybe the killer has superpower strengths, because I understand Gavin is such a pussy, but he couldn't even lift the hammer.
Yeah.
And then they specifically show the killer pick it up with one hand, and he extends it away from his body like, this is nothing for me. It was basically like Thor lifting his hammer while nobody else could.
Yeah, and dude,
so I'm like, is he super strong or not? We don't know.
No, I got to go with Gavin's a fucking pussy, because my kid could probably fucking lift one of those things. All right, so he's in middle school, so grade school. So yeah, if the dude couldn't even win a prize for his girlfriend, he spent $50 fucking for a stupid stuffed animal that cost 92 cents. You know, and he can't even win that by throwing the baseball at the milk jugs, you know. Yeah, he's a
and then even when he
weakling.
tries to talk the guy into giving him one for free, he's like, listen, I spent $50, so you just give him. The guy's like, no, I'll get fired. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck you, asshole! I spent $50 goddamn dollars.
Yeah. I was glad to see him die.
Yeah, he deserved it.
So then, the second good death was the needle in the eye.
Oh, and who doesn't like a good something going into the eye? Eyes, fingernails, and toenails, man. Oh.
And teeth. I don't like teeth.
Oh, yeah, teeth. That's a good one, too. Yeah. The eyeball. Oh.
Basically, the guy just takes a syringe, which they had this room with a dead, it looked like an overdosed person from heroin, and she had fake needles in her arms, and she's just strung out on a bed. But then she would one of those false scares. She jumped at the person walking through the haunted attraction. But then somehow this guy takes a real needle. Why there be real needles laying around, we don't know, but we'll suspend belief on that.
Yeah.
But he gets the guy on the bed, and you see, it's pretty slow motion at that point, and you just see it ever closer getting into his eye, and then it actually penetrates. You see the blood squirt, and then he just, jams it straight through. And I thought for sure they were going to cut away before it ever hit his eye, and then you would just see the aftermath, but they actually did show it the full time. Yeah. So I was impressed with that.
Yeah, I was too. And I was like, well, how's he actually going to kill him? You know, I just wasn't sure if he's going to jam the whole thing in his fucking head or not. And like you said, sure enough, man, it was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Although when I saw it, I think I got to watch it again. I thought I saw that the effect started before the needle hit the eye, even the eye turned red before the needle hit it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a little bit of bad editing, but the whole concept of it, disgusting. That makes you squirm in the chair. So I give that a thumbs up. But the other deaths, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, there were no others. I think, 3 other people died?
And they were all stabbings.
They were just stabbings to the stomach that you don't even see the blood. You don't see the knife go in. It was those fake stabbings from Scream, when they're dicking around and they just pop you in the chest. That's it.
Really, if
there's no suffering, there's no torture, nothing.
And really, if it wasn't for the head smash and the needle to the eye, it would have been something you would have seen on any TV show, on AMC or FX, or probably even a 10 o'clock show on NBC or CBS or something. People get stabbed all the time on those cop shows. It was weak.
And the other thing I hated about the deaths is the last 3 were super rushed. They spend the whole time all together, and I'm thinking, how are you going to get these characters separate? And that's what they did good with Gavin. Was he's like, oh, I'm going to go off on my own. He tries to get that prize, and that's where they kill him. He's on his own. But the rest of the time they're all together, and then they're oh, we got 10 minutes of this movie left. Let's just make the killer run outside and just stab 3 people right in a row.
Yeah, well,
and it's over and done.
Well, the dude Asher, he's the one that got it in the eye. He separated for some reason. I forget why. It probably didn't even make any fucking sense anyway. Why he got separated? He went to go look for somebody. I don't know. And so that's how he got secluded. But you're right. At the end, it was just so fucking rushed. And at that point, you're almost like, oh, I'm running out of film. We better hurry up. Right?
And if they wouldn't have been so damn repetitive in the rest of it, you could have gave us more of an ending.
Yeah, absolutely. And more of
there was
like,
no reason to walk through 5 haunted houses. You could have walked through 3. We got the point, and then had like a half-hour ending to it.
right. I agree with that. Which
So, I mean, the touch on you were talking about, you could probably watch this on any TV.
mm-hmm.
I really didn't see any reason other than those 2 deaths that it should have been R-rated. I mean, yes, they say the F word numerous times, but it was strictly like, we're going to say it just because we have an R rating. Just throw it in any old time. They weren't even used in context.
No. You know what it was? It was like that teenage kid that just wants to curse for the sake of cursing, just to feel cool, and to shock you. You always see these people at the mall hanging out and they're like, yeah, fucking fuck, fuckity fuck. I love the fuck word. All right. But even this, it's one of my favorite words. But this was so much that even I was like, this is stupid. Like, and you're using it wrong. I never knew you could use fuck wrong. These people used fuck wrong. They fucking used it wrong. And it was too much.
Like the other thing, like in the beginning of the movie, Natalie walks in with Brooke and they're talking about Gavin. Oh, Gavin's going to be at Hellfest. She goes, oh, I heard he wants to sit on your face. Or he wants her to sit on his face. And I'm like, you're just saying this for like shock value? I don't even, like, it made no sense to me. But it's like, you're trying to be shocking. Why don't you shock people with the horror in the movie instead of sit on my face comments?
Yeah, I'm not going to a horror movie so you could throw a V up to your face and stick your tongue out. All right, if I want that, I'm gonna watch like fucking porn or something. Okay, they ain't throwing the fingers up to their face. So
like, I don't care about that, but it's just like that was what you tried to do to be shocking instead of having actual horror.
I agree, man.
And then you're taking all these sexual comments, and then there's no damn nudity in the movie, which is like almost a must if you're going to have a good slasher. You have to have nudity. These people are like talking about getting it on, and they're making out in the haunted house like teenagers would, but then it's like they stop, and that's it. You see a couple kisses. It's like very PG-13.
There's very few horror movies that don't show boobies, and horror reached a point where you need to see boobies in a horror flick, and even if you see the boobies, and for you women out there that want to see men's butts, they throw men's asses in there too. There's always a fuck scene in a horror flick.
It has to happen at the 30-minute mark, and that's the first death of the movie.
Yeah,
2 people getting it on naked, 30 minutes in, death. You have to hit those, but they didn't do it.
Fail. I don't even know if nudity could have saved this movie though. Like it would have been like, all right, cool, I saw some nipples, but no. Unless what if they slice the nipples off? Oh,
ooh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah. We'll have to keep that for the horror movie we're never gonna make. So,
and then we just throw it on a pizza and bake it like pepperoni. And then we're like cannibals.
I'll get the large booby pizza. Can I get the areola special? Oh man, yeah.
Let's get to the ending of this shit fest.
So we could put this fucking thing to bury this fucking thing. Oh my God, we talked about this too long already.
So like the ending, like we were talking a little bit. There's no damn conclusion to it.
No.
The guy, like, dies in parentheses. Like, she just beats him. I don't even know with what, a stick.
Well,
and then she takes his knife and stabs him with it.
Yeah,
like in the stomach area, and that's it. And then of course, the cops show up right on time, and they can't find the body.
Yeah,
how predictable, right?
Well, so of course you've taken us through 5 fucking haunted houses, and then they have to go through the last haunted house, which is the most scariest haunted house you have to sign the waiver for, but really the killer's in there. So they're walking through and the door is locked, this is locked, but it rushed through it. Like you talked about the final kills being rushed, the ending was rushed too. They're like, oh, we're gonna you have to fight our way through. We don't know where this guy is. But then all of a sudden, it's like already rushed through. Next thing you know, they're all in the same hallway. You're right. What? Did she stab him first or beat him? I don't remember.
No, she beat him over the back with like, I don't even know, a table leg or something.
Yeah,
and then he was down
something
on the ground, and then she stabs him.
Yeah, stabs him. He's on the ground. They get out. Like you said, the cops come. Oh, you're all safe now. It's okay. Oh, he's in there. They go in there. There's just blood on the floor, and he's gone.
Like, it wasn't even cool how he died. Like, usually the main killer goes down in a pretty cool way. Nope.
Yeah.
Just another stabbing, like the boring deaths and the rest of it.
Which you didn't even see. You did. I want to see the knife go into the fucking gut. That's what I want to see. You know, I want to see the shirt turn red. Nothing. It was the back. The killer's back was towards the audience. We didn't see anything. So,
then what really pissed me off about the ending is, like, we didn't get the second false scare that you always get, or where the killer's down, you think he's dead, but then he's going to have, like, jump out, or you got Jason coming out of the lake, or the hand coming out of the grave. Like,
right.
We got nothing. It's just, all right, it's over, ended.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, where was he with his second return? You always got to have the comeback.
And I thought we were going to get that the way that it ended, you know, because, and I mean, we spoiled the whole fucking movie. You see a minivan drive up to a house, and we're like, oh, whose minivan is that? Whose house is this? You don't really know, you know?
I immediately was hoping and thinking it was going to be Natalie's house, and she was going to walk in and he'd be like in the house, and then he would like jump at her and be like, up, fade to black. Did she live? Did she not? And you kind of like The Strangers, like when the door in the hospital was knocked on. Yeah. Was it them? Was it not? It was like that second false scare. You don't know.
Perfect. Nope.
But instead, we got the ending we got.
Yeah, which was the killer alive. So what? He goes.
So the killer.
Go ahead.
The killer goes into, it's his house, and his daughter's like, I don't know, 8 years old or something, sleeping on the couch. And he goes up to her, wakes her up, and she's like, "Oh, Daddy, you're home," and gives him a hug. And that's literally how it ends. So, like, in a way, it was kind of cool because it's like, it is just a normal guy. He's just crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like, here he has a gut wound. He doesn't have to do anything to it. Doesn't stitch it up or anything. They don't even show that. He just hugs his daughter like nothing happened, and she goes back to bed.
Yeah. Well, but before that, he goes to his garage, right? And he puts the mask that he wears into a cabinet that had a devil mask and the other masks. So you think he's doing this at other haunted houses, which we knew from the beginning of the movie. But again, he's got a gut wound. Yeah, I guess he would have
done this like 5 times or so.
But he has that gut wound. He had like a pig
mask in there, which was kind of cool, but...
See, and those, like you said, the devil mask was cool. The pig masks are always fucking cool, right? And here's this stupid shit mask that he's wearing that everybody else has to wear. Like, it's just bleh. But he has that fucking gut wound. That's what I can't get over. Oh, I'm going to put this away for the night. I had a good time. All right, going to go say goodnight to my kid. Hope she did her homework. That's
so again, does he have some kind of superhuman element? I don't know.
You know, and I read that people were speculating that he had some supernatural power. And I'm like, I don't know. I just thought that if he does, it's fucking stupid. Honestly, because it never...
It is, because they never refer to him as anything other than a normal human.
Right,
so...
right. And never alluded to any supernatural power anywhere else in the movie. Except for maybe the hammer that, you know, but I think Gavin's a pussy on that. But, yeah. Weak movie. I didn't particularly... I was let down.
But it would have even been cool if you, like, would have showed the daughter in the beginning, and maybe she, like, died in a haunted house accident, like a true accident. She, like...
There's a backstory, right?
Or something.
That's a backstory.
And then, like, he went to haunted houses as, like, revenge. I'm going to kill everyone who comes into a haunted house. Like, all right, I understand his reasons.
Yeah.
So, don't tell us.
No.
Yeah, I'm just like fucking spinning shit out of my head here, and it's better than what they wrote and actually sat down and tried to do this. So what do you rank this movie?
I give it a 4, man. 4. It was.
I think you stole my notes, man.
Well, for once we might.
I give it a 4 as well.
Hey, every once in a while we agree on shit, right? It happens.
I guess.
I mean, dude, when it's bad, right? I mean, the thing I did like, great fucking concept. I love these types of movies. There's another one, The House is October Built, which I thought was a little bit better. It was freakier, definitely freakier. And check that one out if you haven't seen it. Same kind of concept, a little bit of a shaky cam, but it's not all shaky cam. Don't be put off by that. And there's another one, Hell House LLC. That one I turned off, but there's a genre for this, but nobody's done it perfect yet. So I'm waiting for the perfect haunted house movie like this. Great concept, poorly executed.
What I liked about it is it's an actual like Halloween movie. So if you want to watch it during Halloween season, it gets me more festive because they're going to a haunted house. It's things that you would actually do in October.
Yeah.
To me, watching Friday the 13th during October is stupid. They're at a summer camp. I don't want to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. That's not a Halloween movie. I like more the actual Halloween series or like Night of the Demons, movies that actually take on Halloween.
Right.
Trick or Treat. It's like one of the greatest Halloween movies ever.
Absolutely.
So in that regard, I was like, all right, this is festive for me. So maybe I would like rewatch it just to get into the Halloween spirit of it.
You can watch it on your own.
And I thought Hellfest, if it was a real place, would be cool. So like, I was into it, but it just didn't hit any of the horror cues that we talked about with the pacing, the false jumps. The horror was very lacking, and the movie only made $5 million, but it was only shot for $5 million as well. So it did make its money back, but you could tell the budget was so low. And I think that's why they spent so much time in a haunted house, because think about when you go to a haunted house, they're charging you like $20 to get in. It costs them nothing to set up.
No.
Like, what did they dress this haunted house for? $1,000?
Yeah.
Like, it's literally just black walls with some fog and lights. The production was nothing, and you could tell. So that's why I give it a 4, just because it was seasonal. But other than that, man, it just had nothing.
Now, I mean, I agree with the seasonal aspect of it. That's the cool thing. And when I went to it, I was like, all right, this is kicking off the Halloween season. It's the beginning of October, you know, everything's starting to pop, you know, everybody's decorating for Halloween. And I don't know, I kind of wasted my Tuesday night. I really did. I feel bad for the other 4 or 5 people that were in the theater too.
Yeah, so that's Hellfest, man. So if you actually saw this movie, let us know what you think. You can always hit us up on email. It's dysfunctionalnerdcast@gmail.com.
And you can always reach out to us on Facebook. Just search Dysfunctional Nerdcast. And you can always tweet us at the Nerdcast on the Twitterverse. So let us know what you think if you actually had the courage to see it.
So I'm glad I had the courage to see the next movie we're going to review. So that's a little teaser for what I think. But for Venom. That's my best Venom voice. I don't know.
Venom. Yeah.
I liked it, man. I really liked it. And going into this, I was making fun of it all week. The movie last I saw was 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. And every trailer, every indication of it, the movie looked like hot garbage.
It did.
And it pleasantly surprised me.
You know what? Just so you know, I'm not hating on this movie, okay? And I was surprised as well. I really was. It did have its faults, but they weren't major enough to warrant an almost 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It did not. And I'll be honest.
I think, I thought we had like a Solo situation here. It got such bad marketing. I don't know if they just didn't market it correctly, because they literally took like Tom Hardy's worst clips in the movie.
Yes.
Took them out of context and then showed them in a trailer, and they came off as really stupid.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, they weren't the greatest in the movie, but they didn't detract from it. But just the way they took them completely out of context destroyed it.
But for me, because they did do that, and I've seen it so many times, because I watch the trailer every once in a while, because I torture myself with it. Because honestly, the trailers sucked, dude. They really sucked.
Yeah,
and
bad.
His acting was terrible. I'm a reporter of Eddie Brock. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? You know? I'm like, I don't get this. And I was not looking forward to going to go see it. But because they ruined it with those shitty trailers, when those moments came up in the movie, I was kind of like, but overall, I was surprised.
Effect. When they came up, I was like, oh, like this actually makes sense the way he's talking and the way he's saying it. Like, I get it now. I don't know.
Parts, but the turd thing still was stupid, dude. I understand I understand it now watching the whole movie. It was still stupid. It wasn't stupid enough for me to say I hate the movie, but that was a weak part for me. It really was.
I'll agree it was kind of corny. I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad as Chrome Dome, but it was not good.
It was a
Chrome Dome.
That's a Chrome Dome moment. That's a Chrome Dome moment.
It wasn't nearly that bad. Because at this point, I understood Venom's humor. Like, he was like that the entire movie, and it built up to it. Like, it is something Venom would have said.
Dude, if you're building up to that, give me a fucking break.
I'm not saying that's a build-up to it. I'm just saying it was representative of his character. Like, that's how he kind of talked in the way he joked around and made fun of people. Like, it's what he would say. He alluded to, like, things of that nature throughout the entire film, so it made sense. It's not like that was the only line he said. It was like, okay, that's your one-liner? That's ridiculous. No, then I would have been pissed.
But I don't know. It still didn't do anything for me. But I don't know. I mean... But it did. His persona was kind of funny, and that's what I did like about the movie was like Venom himself, like I'm going to say symbiote because I refuse to say the other term. And I really liked the interplay between like when they were talking to each other. I thought was really fucking cool. It was funny. You know what? Overall, it wasn't like earth shattering, it was just fun. It was just a fun movie. That's my overall take.
Venom himself. I needed more Venom. Like by the time it ended, I was like, man, I could watch another half an hour of Venom. And that's not to say it was slow because I thought like the whole Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock backstory, it was fine. It was perfect pacing, I thought, but you need to know something about him. You need to know how he gets in this situation. How did the symbiotes come to Earth, and they explain all that, but it didn't drag out. And then by the time you get to have the together, it was like perfect.
See, this is where I'll disagree with you a little bit and I kept track of how long it took for like Venom to really come on screen, like full force Venom. It was about an hour. It was almost an hour. Fine. What's that?
You need basically, it was like half an hour of just Eddie Brock, and then it's like half an hour of him trying to use his powers. Like he's only going to be able to use his arms. Like he can't just become Venom instantly. It's not
No. And I wouldn't want that either. But because of how awesome the second part of the movie was, I would have rather they condensed the first part. They could have taken it down to 30 to 35 minutes. I could have understood it. And because I think they kind of dragged out the whole, when Venom's talking to him, he's like, what? And he's like, we don't do that. Or I'm so sorry. We didn't, and he's like going to the restaurant and he's trying to eat live things. And he's this, that, the other. It was just like, I get it already. Just give me fucking Venom. Because watching it at the whole, that's what I wanted. If they condensed the first part, we could have had more Venom. And that was the fun part of the movie. That was the most fun part, hands down, was when Venom was on.
It was definitely the most fun, but I did not mind the beginning at all. I was never bored. I enjoyed the beginning. It just wasn't as good as, obviously, the Venom part. But the way I look at it from the director and Sony's point, like, this is going to be part of a trilogy, hopefully. So you can't blow your load, in the first movie. You got to save something.
No, but it's
not. The
whole
next movie will have Venom from the beginning.
It's not like it's a fucking complex story, though. Okay? And it was like, 15 minutes, before, I mean, there was action at the beginning. I like that with the whole ship crashing, everything like that. You get the symbiotes coming in. I understand that. And I could have condensed that. And I personally would have been okay if they chopped 25 minutes off minimum. They could have still told the story instead of, it was almost like it was trying to find its footing for me. And I wasn't bored. I was not bored. I was not bored. But watching the whole thing as a whole, I would have been like, you could have cut that down a little bit. Because it got a little bit repetitive of the whole, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, we don't know what we're doing. And, hearing the, kill, I want to eat their heads. I'm like, I got it already.
I think if you condense the beginning, though, you're not going to have much of the villain. And I thought this was probably one of the most developed villains we've had in a comic book movie.
But is he really a villain? Really?
Yeah.
Because when you come out at the end, he's setting the ground rules, and you're like, yeah, I would personally agree with those rules. If I was taken over by this thing, I'd be like, look, man, we killed the bad people. That doesn't make you a bad person, really.
No, I'm talking the villain. Venom is the hero of the movie. The villain, Riot.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I thought he was one of the most developed villains in a superhero movie. It wasn't just like, I want the gem. That's all we know from like every Marvel movie. I need the Infinity Stone. that's the end of there. That's it.
All right. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Like, it delved a lot into his research, how crazy he really was. Just like willy-nilly, I don't care. I'll kill anybody as long as I get like the next phase of research done. Like, he has all the money in the world.
So you're talking more about the human host of Riot, right?
Yeah.
That dude. Yeah.
What the hell is the guy who runs the Life Foundation?
Yeah. Who was, dude, when he was talking and doing everything, I'm just like, this is a really fucking crazy Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a crazy dude anyway, but I mean, a good way. I love Elon Musk. I think he's a genius, but it just, that's who he reminded me of. He came, he was a good dick. He was a dick in the whole movie. But you kind of I understood that too. Like, I don't know. He was developed, but the whole Riot thing kind of confused me. Not confused me. It kind of took too long for me. I don't know. Because he went from body to body to body, which I didn't understand. Because like when they're talking about the symbiotes and they have to latch on to a proper host, correct? Otherwise the host dies. So every time that Riot was more powerful than Venom. So was Riot able to like meld with these 3 or 4 different people better and hold on to them as a host longer because Riot was more powerful, or because the host was more accepting?
I think it's just because the host was more accepting. I mean, he really only held on to the main bad guy.
Right, but he landed.
All
the
other people he killed.
But he held on to him long enough. But did he kill them? If he killed them, but he still had to have a host. Like when he was trying to get the other symbiotes to latch on, it didn't last long at all. Riot's traveling around the fucking world on airplanes, taking over little girls, old Chinese ladies, EMTs, it's like he had like 4 hosts for a period of time. Longer than
I'm saying, those people were all just weak.
But he killed them, not that they wouldn't have accepted him. That's where I was like, so I didn't know if it's because of Riot being more powerful that he could latch on better. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it just kind of like,
I just think they weren't compatible hosts. So basically they were dying the entire time he was infecting them. They were dying.
So did Riot know he wanted to latch on to the villain? Was that obviously was his end game? He sought him out.
He was only trying to get to San Francisco. But he's trying to fight Venom. Basically, the symbiotes know where each other are at. Like, they want to fight. So he's just trying to get the Venom any which way possible. He gets to the main villain. It just happens to be a compatibility.
I didn't get that the way that the movie was. I thought he was seeking him out because he knew he was going to be the best host.
No.
Because how else would he fucking know to go there? He went directly to the Life Foundation.
Because that's where the other symbiotes were at.
Okay.
He's trying to get with the symbiotes. And they were all there.
All right. Well, that makes more sense. But to me,
I mean, Eddie Brock does it. He gets a symbiote when he breaks into the Life Foundation.
Right. Obviously, I like.
He probably confused everybody.
I probably did. I mean, I'm not. I don't know this shit. And I don't think that was really explained well in the movie. I didn't know that. Watching it, I stayed awake the whole time too. I didn't know. I mean,
I don't know. It just kind of made sense. Like they said, one escaped. They don't know where it's at. The others are all together. It shows it landed in whatever, Hong Kong or wherever the hell it landed.
Yeah.
And then you see it traveling from plane to plane. What other explanation is there that it would travel around? It's trying to get it with the other symbiotes.
I just thought he was looking for like the most perfect host, and this dude, he somehow knew because he was so fucking powerful. You know?
No.
That's the way I took it because it made zero fucking sense to me. So I don't know. But overall, man, I it's a good movie. I'm not getting away from that fact at all. It's just like these little things that kind of popped out to me. That's why I think the first half of the movie was a little repetitive. For me, it was a little repetitive. Doesn't mean I didn't like it. Like Hellfest, fucking stupid repetitive. This was repetitive, but not enough that I didn't like it. If that makes any sense whatsoever. So
just like get into, some of the shit that critics were saying was that this movie really suffered from PG-13, and I didn't find that whatsoever.
Oh,
I did think it was a dark PG-13.
You kidding me?
I thought the violence was plenty in it. Honestly, this was as violent as Hellfest was, and that was rated R. So would it have been cool to see Venom actually bite a head off and like rip the fucking spine out?
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But the fact that he ate heads and you know what he's doing, it was fine by me. It was a more adult theme. They say shit in the movie like 20 times. They use their one fuck that they're allowed. And at one point when the Chinese lady's all busted up, they show like a bone sticking out of her fucking leg, which was more violent than anything Hellfest had to offer.
I can see that on TV.
That's why it's PG-13. Like, it didn't need to be R. There was nothing. It didn't hamper the movie in any way. He still killed, 100 people in the fucking movie.
See, I'm glad you brought this up because they were saying they wanted to push that PG-13 to the fucking limit, and I don't think it was pushed. I don't think they pushed it to the limit. I do not. And
what else could you do in PG-13 that wouldn't move it to an R?
Dude, there was more violence in the Lord of the Rings trilogies than this movie.
No.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Hands down, man. I'm sorry. And the thing that I really wanted to see...
An elf shooting someone with an arrow is not the same as somebody like getting ripped in half.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Like hitting people with axes and, chopping limbs off and stuff like that.
There's just no way. There's no fucking way.
I disagree. And here's the thing that
Lord of the Rings doesn't use language. You can't get around the language. And they definitely pushed
but we're not
language.
We're not talking about language. We're talking about violence here. Fuck the language. Okay?
I'm talking about PG-13 versus R, and they pushed everything PG-13 as far as they could, language and violence-wise. I guarantee you they couldn't have done anything else.
I think there could have been
blood in PG-13. And I loved, my favorite line of the movie is
the turd.
Venom goes up the tower, and he just runs up the side of the building. They kill a bunch of people, and then he wants to go down. He's like, just make the jump, Eddie, make the jump. And he's like, I'm taking the elevator. And Venom goes, pussy.
Yeah, that was good.
I was laughing. Again, PG-13. You're not going to hear that in fucking Lord of the Rings. And
you're not going to hear the word pussy in Lord of the Rings because they don't talk like that. Lord of the Rings was PG-13 because of the violence.
You don't hear that in PG-13 movies, man. Like,
Do you realize Lord of the Rings was PG-13 because of violence? The violence in that movie wasn't the language. They don't curse in that world.
I don't care. It was much better than Lord of the Rings, for one, and two is I'm telling you, they pushed PG-13 as much as you can push it. Marvel's PG-13, like Captain America, PG-13. Venom was far more violent than Captain America.
I still think
no doubt about
they could have. Okay, I agree with you. What I wanted to see, but when you're going to say we're going to push this and we don't want to go for the R, we want to obviously have a bigger audience, so you go with PG-13. But when you're going to say we're going to take it to the max, it's going to be you're going to see violence, but not over the top, blah blah blah. You can still see blood stains on things. And what would have been great was to see that little girl going berserk on somebody. And she just walks right in. How does a little fucking girl walk into this whole foundation that's heavily guarded without killing anybody? I'm just supposed to fucking imagine that? Why don't we see at least off-screen shit? No, we don't. That was a weak point for me. I wanted to see how she, not a whole drawn out thing, but at least one or two little quick things is like, and there's someone dying at her hands. You don't see that. And he's just like, oh, little girl, where'd you come from? Oh, symbiote. Okay, take me over. Thank you. When at the end, he devours that dude in the, the little market and, devours him. There's no aftermath whatsoever. None.
Because you're not allowed to show that. You cannot do that in PG-13.
You can't show a blood stain on the floor.
You can't do that. No. Look it up. You can't do it. You would get an R rating.
Okay.
Lord of the Ring, guess what? There's not any blood in it at all.
I think there's black blood. I wonder if that makes a difference. If orc blood makes a difference. You can't do it. I don't know.
And even if there was a puddle, that's not going to change the movie for me. Just because there's a puddle of blood on the floor, like, if there is or isn't, that doesn't make it a better movie or not.
I just wanted to see it. I just wanted to fucking see it, man.
I just don't know how that's like critics are like, it was hampered so much by PG-13. It wasn't. The only issue that I really had with the movie was I thought the end fight was just too short.
I'll agree with you.
At the end of the day, I said I wanted to see more. That's a good thing, I think, to have, is a reaction of I want more. So in a way it succeeded, but it was just like, I don't know, it could have been at least another 15 minutes worth of fight. Like, you have this whole buildup between Riot and Venom, and then it's maybe 10 minutes long that they fight.
Yeah. You say that's a good thing because you want people wanting more. I'll play devil's advocate and say, well, that's a bad thing because you didn't give us enough. What happened with that fight, too, was it was intense, man. I was into it. I was really into that fucking fight. And I was like, damn, this is fucking awesome. I'm like, you see the symbiotes melding together and pulling apart. And I thought the special effects were not 100% the greatest, but they were damn good. I really did like them. But you see them fighting, and it was fucking intense, man.
But then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, and I'll say, Man of Steel. If I saw Superman and fucking Zod spin each other around one more time and just punch each other in the face for the 300th fucking time,
sure,
I was so bored of it. I'm like, this is the worst fight ever. It's taking and dragging on forever.
That's why
leave me wanting more.
That's why there's called everything in moderation, right? Either you got to do it at the right point. So either it's not enough or you go too far.
I'd rather want more though than
I would rather have the right amount all the time. So therefore there's no argument. You know what I'm saying? It's fun to argue with you, but what I wanted to get to with this fight too was, as intense as it was, all of a sudden, bang, it's over. That's the feeling I got. It was like, all of a sudden he realized, it was like, bang, oh, I could just do this and I can end the fight. And the fight's over. That's why I was left wanting more too. It's not because not only was it a fucking awesome fight, which it was over abruptly to me. I don't know how you felt.
Yeah, I could have had it definitely be longer, but I think that's a good thing of the film, that it was so awesome you wanted more.
See, I'm looking at it a different way. It was so awesome and it ended too abruptly. And why? That was stupid. You should have went a little bit more, because then everybody's going to be happy and satisfied. But
so we talk the post credit. So to tie this into Spider-Man, I could tie that in. At the end,
ahead.
he does allude to having a special interview set up because he loses his job,
right?
You know, through the course of the movie, and then they want to hire him back, and he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. Like, I got an interview, you know, to be a reporter." Obviously, it's with the fucking, you know, in New York with Peter Parker, so that's how he's going to get over there from San Fran. So good tie-in to, you know, the franchise.
Do you think it's actually going to happen?
I don't know. We'll have to see what the box office numbers do on this. I mean, I think it should. I think the movie was good enough that I definitely want to see it. Like, they're doing what Marvel kind of, you know, already did. You know, Sony kind of fucks things up themselves, but now that I know about Eddie Brock more and Venom, like, it does make me care about Venom. So to see him now fight Spider-Man is going to be so much cooler than if he just appeared in a Spider-Man movie as the villain.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree. Because you do have the backstory and everything. Which...
But it's not even the backstory. Like, just your general interest and, like, to kind of care about the character. Like, he's just not the bad guy. He is a...
That's what I mean,
tormented character. Like...
That's what I mean.
He does have the ebb and flow of good versus bad.
Yeah, but that's what I was wanting to allude to. Is like, you have the backstory. I like Venom. Like, I think he's a cool dude. I honestly do. Like, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. If I was to have
like a vigilante in a way, I mean,
yeah, who doesn't like the vigilante? Everybody loves the vigilante. You know, everybody loved Bronson as the vigilante. You know, it did. I mean, he fought because someone fucked up his family. You know, and
Charles Bronson. Death Wish meets Venom.
Meets Dirty Harry. I mean, Dirty Harry's like a vigilante cop. You know, everybody loves that outside edgy vigilante type. They do. That's the classic anti-hero. That's the point of the anti-hero. He's bad, but he does the things that you wish you could do. Right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, he has no filter.
Yeah. Kind of like, I don't have a filter sometimes. But I don't kill people. Nah,
Well, you want to.
Who doesn't? Seriously, who does not?
Your head off.
Yeah. Who does not want at one point in their life to inflict bodily harm on somebody? But you know, morally, you should not do that, you know?
I don't know if it's morally, more just I don't want to go to jail or be sued.
All right, maybe that's it. Yeah, fuck morals. All right. I was trying to be a little bit politically correct there, but I guess it is the jail thing that stops everybody from doing that, you know. I mean, cuz I don't know. Unless you forgive and forget, which I won't for certain things. So
well, we're talking jail, so I'm jumping into the post credit, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I thought this was one of the better post-credit scenes in all of comic book movies. So they go to San Quentin, and Eddie's doing his typical reporting. You go into the jail, he sees the cell, and who is it? Woody Harrelson, baby, which was pretty much predicted, and everyone kind of knew, but to see it confirmed was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he, of course, is Cletus, and he is the one who turns into Venom. Or Venom, into Carnage, sorry. So we get the sneak peek of what the next movie is going to be, which would clearly be Venom versus Carnage, which is pretty much Venom's main arch nemesis.
Right.
I loved it. Loved it.
See, I'm not 100% familiar with the whole story. I didn't read it, obviously, but I picked up on it. I knew exactly what was going on. And from what I understand, were in the books, were these two cellmates at one point? Was that it? Because that's what I read.
Not that I'm familiar with, no.
And then I don't know, because they kind of mess with like the backstory a little bit, and then they mess with the backstory all throughout, all the movies, which is kind of cool. But
Cletus Cassidy is like the coolest fucking character ever. He's a serial killer,
right?
So I mean, they could go really dark with the next movie, like. And Woody Harrelson playing a serial killer, I want to see him go like Natural Born Killers, and I think he's like perfect for the role.
Great movie.
Just make him fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah,
make him crazy, and I just want to see him like murder people and then turn into carnage.
I'll tell you what. You said it was like the perfect, post-credit thing. I'm a big fan of Woody Harrelson, and when he said there will be carnage, I'm like, I got almost a chill. The way he delivered it was probably part of it, but knowing a little bit about the character and a little bit about that storyline, I was like, that's pretty badass. Like, you're right. That was a badass post-credit scene.
He even had like something written. I forget what it said, but he had something written in his jail cell in blood.
What did it say? Wasn't it welcoming him or something? Wasn't he writing it?
It might have said like "Hello, Eddie." Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
But I was like,
wasn't he writing with like his?
He
was writing with his fingertip, right? Like like he ripped his finger open to write in blood. So I also had like that whole Silence of the Lambs kind of vibe to it, That was totally taken from that. So
yeah, when he tucked his penis between his legs, it was totally Silence of the Lambs. Like,
no, but
no, I get what you're saying. It was, I agree.
The way he walked in, they're giving him the warning. That was totally when like Clarice came in, But
yeah.
It was a good post-credit scene, and I liked it. Now, the one at the end had no bearing on the fucking movie, and it was just a shameless fucking plug.
Well, I didn't stay for that. I told you not to.
Yeah, but I wanted to. The kid wanted to, so I took the kid to see the movie.
So basically, I guess they allude to it and say, like, in another universe, this is what's happening, and then they just show a plug for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and it was... I think because it ended on like that post-credit scene was kind of serious and fucked up. This was kind of funny. It was a funny, plug. I guess Miles Morales goes to visit the grave of Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's there from the other universe, and he gets attached to this train. They're flying through the city because they're attached by these webs and all this other shit and blah 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 blah. It was a shameless plug for the fucking movie, honestly. Which the movie, I will admit, looks fucking cool. I love the animation.
It looks awesome.
I love
Every
that
trailer
animation.
I see, like the new one, is just fucking amazing.
And I didn't notice before, and I don't know why, was the dots in the animation. Like you're looking at a comic book, an old school comic book. That I thought was, that's fucking brilliant. Whoever came up with that.
I just love the humor that they're putting into it. Like the new trailer was showing the fucking popsicle, and it's all like half melted and retarded looking because that's what they always look like when you do get it.
Yeah,
it's just like I was cracking up. Like there's so much funny. And then at the end when Spider-Ham is like, "Do animals talk in this world? I don't want to freak this kid out." And he's like, "Oh, really?" Like because fucking Spider-Ham wouldn't be weird enough, I just think it's going to be awesome. Like, I hate cartoon stuff, and I'm so excited for that movie. I'm definitely going to see it, like, opening day.
Yeah, you do hate cartoons. I love cartoons.
I hate them.
You know what really I liked was Spider-Man Noir. I don't know why, but just looking at him cracks me up. I don't know why. It just... the way he moves, he's like... And in that one preview where they're all up in the ceiling... moving around like right before they say that line where Spider-Ham says that, and they're moving around trying to like to keep out of that kid's view, and I'm like, that's just so funny. Like the look on Noir's, like just the way he's moving. I'm just like, I don't know, it's funny. They did a good job. If
I wanted to say, about Venom, I don't know if you heard like the rumors or like basically fan fiction that they came up with. But do you remember when Life came out in 2017? It was a Sony Pictures movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It has Ryan Reynolds is in it.
Yeah,
they go to outer space, and they get basically this cell that is freaking acts just like the symbiote. The movie is called Life, which has to do with the Life Foundation. The movie so clearly could have been a prequel to Venom if they really were smart about it and wanted to do it. It would be absolutely awesome. So the movie starts with basically that ship crashing to Earth. So Ryan Reynolds gets killed, all the people, whatever. The symbiote comes down to Earth. Like, go ahead and watch that movie as fan fiction and just make it a prequel to Venom, because it really does work. It's crazy. It's crazy how much similarity there is to it.
Now, a little bit of I don't know, something that like I couldn't believe was, here you have this spaceship, like, all right, not spaceship, that's science fiction, but we have this ship coming back from Earth that we sent up. So Elon Musk guy sends this ship up. When you re-enter like that, nobody's gonna fucking survive. Okay, that's a fucking fact. All right.
Well, we don't know how his ship was made.
But that's the one thing. That's the one thing that's what I had to tell myself, was I had to step out of reality and say, this is a fucking comic book movie. Okay. This is like where this fucking symbiote thing. This is where, like, you know, a world where Fantastic Four, a dude stretching, you know, you got a Human Torch, you have a fucking Spider-Man. Okay. I had to remember that, because I was like looking at this, I'm like, nobody would ever fucking survive that. We all know what happened to the space shuttle when it came back. It fucking burned up. Meteorites burn up and turn into a pebble from like something that's 100 feet wide. Okay, it doesn't happen. But then
he
I was
also
like,
was able to travel to another galaxy, which we
I know,
can.
I know. That was just like, this wouldn't happen. I was like, fuck, this is a comic book movie. Of course it can happen. I didn't mean it in a bad way at all. It's just like picking on myself, because I geeked on that. I didn't nerd. I geeked on that. I was like, that wouldn't fucking happen. That's not possible. Like, there's no sound in space, but every Star Wars movie has fucking explosions. Okay, it happens. So
I got to get into the comic spec of this movie. Let people know like what was in it, what you should keep your eyes out for, if there's anything important. First off, did you get your free comic?
Yes, I got 2 of them actually. Yeah.
So for those that weren't aware, AMC participating locations were giving out a free Venom promo comic. Kind of is like a half-ass adaptation of the movie. They were giving out for free. They're going for like $20 or $30 online. So I mean, if you're not into it, sell it and, you know, pay for your movie.
I was going to ask you,
but I got 2 copies as well. When I went in, I got one, and then when I left, I went to a different line and played stupid and was like, I didn't get my ticket or my comic. Here's my ticket. And they're like, oh, here, take one. I'm like, great. So I got my 2, but anyway.
Yeah, I prepaid my tickets and actually had like $10 free through AMC Rewards. Thank goodness. So it was cheap to go to the movies. But I was like, oh, and there was like a little bit of a line, and I was like, oh shit. So I kind of like snuck up there. I was like, yo, can I get one of those comic books? I already got my tickets online. He's like, yeah, here. I'm like, can I get one for my kid? He's like, yeah, here. I was like, all right, great. Ran out to the car, put him in the car, and went right back in. Awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had stacks of them, so I think they will last all weekend. But some of those promo comics end up worth pretty much money. Like, there's actually a Maximum Carnage once that came with the acclaimed video game for Sega, and it came with every copy. Well, that's like a $200 book now, because everyone just threw them out or manhandled them.
Right. Well, you figure most of these are gonna have fucking like popcorn grease on the fucking things.
Yeah, and kids were like rolling them in half while they're watching the movie and stepping on them and sitting on them. So,
dude, I took mine right out to the car, man.
To.
I took it right out to the car. I said, nope. But you were gonna say? So
going along with further comic spec, though.
Yeah.
Anne is his fiance in the movie Eddie's Fiance.
Mm-hmm.
And her first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man 375. It's a really easy book to find in back issue bins. I think I have like 15 copies of it. I've been pulling them the last like 6 months pretty heavily. It's a cardstock cover that's all gold. It's a gold foil. But the problem with them is trying to find ones in really mint condition, because the gold foil tends to like rub off as black. So it's hard to find them if they're not bagged and boarded. They're going to have a lot of like wear marks on them. So leave those. It's only like a $15 book, but again, for $1, they're worth grabbing. And she's obviously going to be in the next movie if they do one. She's not going anywhere. I mean, even at the end of the movie, they kind of allude. I think Venom says we're not done with her.
Yeah,
and so she'll be back. So that's just like a cool first appearance. Like it's an easy book to find, and it's Anne's first appearance.
Cool.
But the better spec, going with Anne is Venom. Sinner Takes All #3. It's the first appearance of Bride of Venom, and Anne does wear the symbiote in this movie, and she becomes Bride of Venom for like 10 seconds, which she looked fucking awesome.
Dude, she looked hot. I'll tell you that. I was like, whoa, nice.
You'll fuck that symbiote?
Symbiote!
But that book's actually really hard to get. It's like a $75 to $100 book, but I've seen them at shows for like $10. Like it was hot for a little bit, then cooled, and now it's hot again. So you might find them in those bins where like every book in the bin $10.
Right.
I would grab them if they're under like $30. Get them all. The other stuff we mentioned, Cletus Cassidy, his first appearance as Cletus Cassidy's Amazing Spider-Man 344. And that book's going for like $40-50. I think that's going to double easily. And a lot of people don't know about that book because everyone's worried about what's the first Carnage. And everyone knows that's Amazing Spider-Man 361. That's already like $100 to $150 book. You're not going to find those anymore. Everyone knows what it is.
Right.
But get the first Cletus. Like, that's really who Carnage is. So I would worry more about that at this point. And then as far as the movie itself, it heavily follows Venom Lethal Protector. It's a 6-part miniseries. Those books are really easy to find in dollar bins. Even issue 1 is going for like $50 now. I see them all the time. So pull those. And then issues 4 and 5, which is the first appearance of Riot, and it has all the other symbiotes in it as well, which obviously took place in this movie. And the other symbiotes are going to make an appearance because they're not done with. We never see what happens to them. So if they want, they can put those into the movie. I would grab those issues. Like right now, they're maybe $15-20. But again, they're so easy to find. And it's a first appearance Riot. Usually, Villain Spec doesn't hold up the greatest, but they're never going to be dollar books again.
No, not because of this movie. Definitely not.
And then the last little bit of spec I got is they mentioned numerous times in the movie, I think they say it like 3 times, about the planet of the symbiotes. So there was actually a 5-part series done that went across all of the Spider-Man titles. So it was like Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Venom, and just Spider-Man. And they're called Planet of the Symbiotes. And it's that 5-part series. They're all like $20 to $30 books, and they were just one-off specials. So keep your eyes out for that. But the other thing that's super easy to find because they're newer books, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 from like 2013, I think it is. Issues 21, 22, and 23 is a redo of the Planet of the Symbiotes where Venom actually goes to his home world. So right now those books are like really undervalued, under $10, and they're in dollar bins because they're not that old of books. So they're still in great condition. I think those books are going to take off. So there's a lot of stuff to look for. And there's a lot of the stuff, it's not super hard to get. And I think all these books are going to easily double in value.
Interesting.
I think the movie was good enough, and there's enough interest to carry on in sequels, and none of these characters are done with.
The movie did do well enough. I wanted to bring that up, was box office numbers. Did you see the latest box office numbers? If not, I would be more than happy to
I was, you talked about it. It's going to be curious what it is. You were saying how successful it is and saying it's got to be based off the numbers. We'll see, but
I looked it up right before we went online here or recorded this, and the Friday take, including Thursday night, was like $32,750,000. They're projecting this at $80 million right now.
Wow, sequel. They only wanted 50 million out of it.
Yeah, and they were hoping for 50. Like they were like, okay, 50. Now, hopefully for them, it continues. Okay, and this movie has the potential to not, personally, I think, not drop as bad the second week, because a lot of people went and saw this, even though like the critics hated this fucking movie. We know that.
It got so much bad word of mouth. I mean, I went to it and I joked around with you, like, I'm going to see how much of a train wreck this movie will be.
Yeah. I that's what we were both saying. I mean, so you're looking at a record for October, $33 million Friday. If it picks up to 80 million, I think it might be a record for October. And September, October are not big months, right? So I think it did what, 130, 123, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was like 120 or something like that.
So I think it was like 123 last year, and that's huge, you know. I think with advertising everything, I saw a number, it was either 350 million or 450 million this movie has to make. Total, worldwide, whatever. This has the potential to do that. I'm a little leery about overseas, honestly. I don't know how it's going to do overseas. I think domestically, it's going to be pretty good. And I was totally shocked seeing $80 million potential. That's crazy.
I'll tell you, poor Woody Harrelson. The movies he in they got blasted for being shit with Solo and this, and then they're actually good.
Yeah.
I just realized we never gave our ratings, so we got to rank this fucker.
All right, you're the Uber fanboy, so you go first.
I'm giving it an 8.
Wow.
I thought it was really enjoyable. I didn't think there was anything bad enough to really detract from the movie. The only reason I'm dropping it is because there was some corny lines. You know, Tom Hardy, I don't know, certain parts he was a little like hokey, I guess. Overall, though, he wasn't nearly as bad as I thought he would be. And then the CGI wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It's not bad by any means, but it's also not. It's not the greatest thing that is out right now. So I mean, that maybe detracts it like a point, and then some of the corniness a point. But overall, I really liked it.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 7.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I am honestly shocked I'm giving it a 7, because I thought about it last night, and I was at 6.5 last night, and I'm trying to get away from the half point bullshit, because that to me is like my own cop out of I don't really want to give it like a bad score, but I don't want to give it a great score. But I'm giving it a 7 because it exceeded my it exceeded my expectations. Okay, I thought this was going to be absolute fucking garbage. And it wasn't.
Yeah,
okay?
I expected a 5, at best a 6 going into it. So
I was looking at a 5. I was not going above a 5. And if you were to show, seriously, you show this trailer to anybody, there is not one person I talked to that said, "Wow, this is going to be a great fucking movie." You know, I was so shocked that it was better than a 5. So I'm giving it a 7. I went through my moments that I did not like. Okay. So that's what I detracted for. There were cheesy fucking moments in there. It's just all over a fun movie. I will watch this again. I might like it a little bit better, you know, but I think I'm going to always like the second half of the movie better, because it was so much fun. The first half was the part that brought it down. If the first half was as awesome as the second half, if the story was as awesome as the second half story, I would have given it an 8. I really would have. But 7 overall. And I think that's great, especially for Sony, who just fucked up 2 series of Spider-Man, which I thought they were both decent, had decent aspects to it. They're on their way to maybe hopefully doing something cool. They set the foundation. Let's see if they...
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see if they can keep it up. But let's look at it too. You had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and it fizzled and fucking died. You had the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, which I honestly liked better, and it went nowhere. Those are their DC moments, and hopefully they can do something with this. And hopefully,
but if they can do what they think they're going to do with Into the Spider-Verse, like they're going to be fucking rivaling Disney. I mean, if they can make that a cinematic universe of cartoons and do it the way they're doing it, it's going to be brilliant. That's a big if.
That's a huge if, because when you talk animation, you're not getting any bigger than Disney, and that's the fact.
But this has so much hype on it; it's crazy.
It is.
This has so many kids interested, so many adults, so many like fanboys, and I don't know if you really get that from Disney movies. Like, yeah, kids are into them, but I don't know if like fanboys are like, I can't wait for the next Toy Story. No, they'll take their kid, but they're not.
Those are Disney fans. Okay, they're not.
I think this is a bigger audience because you're going to get all those kids plus actual adults, and not just adults who have kids. Like, you're going to get people who go to these movies that just want to see it for themselves.
I know you hate Disney, okay, but there are a lot of adults that watch Disney cartoons, and even if you grew up watching Disney, for some reason, there's a nostalgia thing. So you go and you're like, okay, my kid wants to watch the newest Disney movie. I'm going to watch it too. And I'm going to go to the movies with them because I'm a Disney fan. It is a whole other world. You don't get it. I know that, but it is a whole other fucking world.
I've never seen hype around those movies like I have with Spider-Verse.
Okay. There's no hype under
Incredibles just came out. It did good, but nobody really cared about it. Like it's not generating buzz. I'm telling you, this is a whole nother level.
Dude, people were so fucking excited about Incredibles 2. It took almost over 10 years to fucking come out. People were ready for that movie, man. Disney fans were fucking ready for that. Adults, kids, everybody. That's the saying. You're not into that.
It came and went.
You're not into that.
Nobody.
It made a decent amount of money for them, and that's all that matters. And the merch, everything else with that, it was a fucking success for them. That's true.
I'm not saying it was, but it's not nearly the hype that Spider-Verse is getting.
I think you're biased.
It's not.
I think you're biased on that. Because only buzz I hear on that is in the comic book community. I don't hear anybody else besides people like you, me, and maybe like our kids or something, or, that are talking about it because they're into that culture. If you're not into a certain culture, you're not going to know about it. Honestly, you're not. I don't see fucking anything on TV about Into the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen one fucking thing.
Because it doesn't come out till December.
Well, you're saying it's all hyped and everything.
Toys are already out. All I know is Marvel movies make a hell of a lot more than Pixar movies make, and all those people are going to go see this cartoon movie. It's going to be bigger than Incredibles. Did Black Panther make a hell of a lot more money than Incredibles?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't say that it didn't, but...
So how is Spider-Verse not going to make a hell of a lot more money than Incredibles?
You're basing that on Black Panther? That's two fucking different movies.
I'm basing that on every single Marvel movie that's come out has made more.
So now it's just Marvel. It doesn't matter if it's a Sony picture or a Marvel Studios, right? It's
Not
just
really,
Marvel at all.
Spider-Man.
See, and that's why I
having like a touch on it. Like they are tied to it at this point. Like with the Spider-Man franchise, like they do have some say. Look how good the video game's been portrayed as. Like people love Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about this before, and everybody fucking knows it. When you think of superheroes, you got Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. These are the most recognizable superheroes out there. Honest, real, right? They're the ones that are most recognizable. And they've always been that way. So yeah, you put something out like that, it's gonna fucking make money. It will. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what the numbers are on that. And what I want to say was, I think because it's Marvel, people don't differentiate between Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios either. They see Marvel.
No, most people don't know. And have no idea.
And I think
different studios.
And I think that helped this movie was the success of Black Panther, Infinity War, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe helped this movie. It really did. It's my opinion. So, what else we got?
That's it.
That's it? I think we covered a lot on this one. Wow. And for being so far away from each other, who knew? Who knew we could do this?
I know. I can brag a little bit today, though.
Just today? You brag every fucking day.
I know, but today was like a really good day.
Besides,
so I did my...
What?
Did my comic store haul today. New dollar books were put out.
Yeah.
And I spent $56. And I got $1,133 worth of books. So how this guy stays in business, I'm not really sure. But just like some of the shit I pulled a first Kyle Rayner from Green Lantern, which I didn't even know when I pulled it. It's like a $30 book, but when I pulled it, it was a DCU variant edition. So they're like $300. I didn't even know it was that version until I started to bag and board it. Like I would have bought it no matter what, but I was like, shit. And then I got a Danger Girl Dynamic Forces Gold edition. That's like almost $100. I pulled 2 Leatherface vs. Jasons. Those are like $60 a piece. I pulled a first appearance Alien. I pulled a first appearance Stargirl, which I got 12 copies of. Pulled a first Phantom X. That's like $80. First Magenta. I got Darkhawk 3 annual, which is like $30-40. Every book I was pulling, like he had some really hard Turtles books in there. Tales of TMNT, #1s. I got 2 copies of that. So good day comic-wise, man. Good weekend comic-wise. Got to see a cool movie. Got some good books. Couldn't go wrong.
Yeah. Of course, by the time I got to the shop, all that shit was gone because some asshole took them all. But I'm happy with...
This is why people need to listen to my comic spec advice. Like, you listen to what I'm telling you to get. It's shit that I am finding. That's why...
When was the last time you...
Go find...
Dude, when was the last time you fucking spec'd on DC? Never.
Don't. Because it's failed spec, it doesn't go anywhere.
But you just picked up a $300 book.
Yeah, you got to have some really rare. So, for those who don't know, the DCU variants, they were only sold in like 3-packs to like certain grocery stores in the 90s. So the only way you could get it was through that 3-pack. The print runs are extremely small. So it's 100% the same book, but the logo in the corner, instead of having a barcode, it says DC Universe. If you find that in any book, chances are it's a good book.
Take a chance.
People collect like the Whitman variants. It's kind of similar, or Mark Jeweller's kind of similar. But when you find an actual key with a DCU variant, that's where you're going to make your money. So like a first Kyle Rayner, anything key is big money.
Hey, you got these big dollar books. You know what I got when I got there? I got 70 fucking books. I got some Star Wars books that I needed. I got a couple action comics that I needed. I did pick up a couple books that were worth this, that, the other thing. I paid for myself with the books that I picked up. I'm not going to brag like you because that's not me. All right. You go ahead, man. Brag about your shit. I will not. I more than broke even, and I'm cool with that because I more than broke even, and I got some shit that makes me happy. So I'm cool with that. That's my Zen comic collecting. I'm just
going for big dogs.
I'm the Zen comic collector.
I'm just saying people should listen to what I'm telling them because I'm not telling you books that I don't find. Like, it's shit that's out there. I'm not going to go tell you, oh, go find Amazing Spider-Man #1. Like, you're not going to find it. Everyone knows what it is. Like, you're not going to find those type of books. These are expensive books that fly under the radar.
Yeah, but nobody's going to find these books when you fucking buy them all either. So I go there and they're gone. You took them all.
I can't cover the whole country. You know what I mean? Like, people.
No, you just covered the same fucking store that I'm going to. That's all. It's all good, man. It's all good. All good.
Well, that's all we got. We're running long. So until next time, I promise to be back in studio and we'll be symbiotic once again.